All right, so if you're wondering where I am and why I'm wearing this, it'll actually all make sense. We're backstage at the Pecorino factory where they make the Bachi. This is owned by Nestle. This is like top secret stuff. They don't let cameras in here. The candy business is big business. You're not going to see Cadbury, Cabot, and Hershey's letting people run around and see how they do stuff. So it took us a long time to arrange this shoot. We're scrubbed down. We've changed our clothes, our shoes, our beard, our hair. But the idea was we really wanted to get in here and do this. Behind me is this extruding machine, and what's coming out is this mix of gianduja, which is this classic chocolate of the region, and ground hazelnuts. In northern Italy, in Alba and Piedmont especially, hazelnuts rule. It's the nut that's in all the candy. And this gianduja is a famous chocolate. So what you have is, really, that's the heart of the Bachi extruding out of that machine. We're going to follow the Bachi production today through the line, and you'll see, I mean, even though this is big business, multi tens of hundreds of millions of dollar business, a lot of it's still handwork, and these days, it's completely technically clean. This is absolutely sterile environment. It's like a little Swiss pharmaceutical. I mean, literally you can eat off the floor, but stay with me. We'll see how candy's made. So these days, with food safety, I can't overemphasize too. I've been in this business all my life, and I've been in lots and lots of factories. When you're getting in anything that's mass-produced, that's remotely commercial, you absolutely have to stress food safety. And this is the first time this chocolate's seen a hand. So the chocolate's been mixed, it's been extruded into these little ball shapes, it comes out, the nuts are placed on by machine. All these women are doing is picking out any imperfections, making sure the nuts are set, and the Bachi will continue on their merry way and probably won't see another set of hands until you eat them. So we have the chocolates that we saw being formed, nuts being put on the top, they're coming through. Only the bottom of them is being enrobed. So again, we're like laying the foundation of the house. Once that's set, they enrobe the top so that it's a completely sealed candy. And the chocolate on the top here is a dark chocolate. It's not a milk chocolate, it's dark. It's going to be 51, 52%. It's an old recipe. This candy was invented by Louise, who was the owner's wife back in the 1920s or 30s. I think that's how far the recipe goes of Bachi. And the original name wasn't Bachi, it was Punch for some reason. I think Bachi's a better idea. So these chocolates now have been completely tempered. The chocolate's the perfect temperature. It's been cooled down. It's been enrobed on the bottom and on the top once. Now it gets enrobed a second time, which really gives it the mouthfeel, gives it the flavor, gives it the quality and the strength that it needs. So once this has been tempered and ready to go, one more time, it goes through this machine for the second process. You know, I feel like, really, I mean, am I Willy Wonka or what? This is one of the world's ultimate chocolate factories. And this is what they look like in 2010. I mean, it's state of the art. There's not a whole lot of human involvement. You don't want contamination. You don't want hands all over stuff. Not when you're making these things by the billion, basically. So this place is enormous. I forget how many square meters they told me it was, but it's like 50 football fields. When it's full-blown in production in October, November, December, and the holidays, it's just a buzz. And it's not just what you see here. It's on this level, and then above me, there's conveyor belts of finished goods that have been wrapped, that are just cooling down, that are finding their way, winding their way around this facility. Eventually, they get dropped in boxes that get sealed in bigger boxes that get stamped, that get put on pallets, and out they go. But for the most part, there are no human hands. This is what really good food technology looks like in the modern era, if you want to take risk out of play. You know, at some point, you've got this chaos. You've got, I don't know how many are in these rows. You've got like 40-some chocolates in a row coming out every second and a half. And you've got to organize them in a way that the machines can handle them and then wrap them. So what you do, and this is all thought out by these sort of engineers and food scientists, is you kind of like traffic patterns. You turn 40 into 20, into 10, into 8, until finally you've got this entire line running a little faster in a row that the wrapper can handle at the end that is, again, just all going to be done by machine. But this is, I've been to so many factories, you see this all over the time, this kind of sorter. Again, back to food safety, and we're in factories all the time these days for a lot of reasons. This piece of machinery is amazing. This is just about the last 10, 15 years. Big companies invest a fortune. This is a metal detector that's one of the, in the middle, towards the end of the production, that every single piece of chocolate is being scanned. An alarm will go off. There's a little shard of metal, a staple, anything that could have gotten in here that could possibly be dangerous. So in big food production, the idea is safety, 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 including stuff like this, which is probably heavier duty than what we have in our airports now. All right, remember me at Joe Mart Chocolates in Brooklyn? I do this all the time. I'm sneaking stuff off the production line. I'm eating the profits. I couldn't resist. I stole one of these. Because when am I ever going to get a chance to eat a Bachi that is this fresh? I'm smiling. It's great. I mean, really classic. That wonderful fresh hazelnut taste. Not terribly, terribly sweet, but sweet. And, I mean, does it get any fresher? This is delicious.
We go to make the bacio, the case bacio, Perugina.
Inside the Pecorino factory, they actually have a school set up pretty much for tourists, anybody that wants to come, that shows them how to work with chocolates and basically kind of how to make great chocolates at home and maybe Bachi if you're so inspired. This area is full of vineyards like the rest of Italy. So we visited the Blasi vineyard. It's beautiful. It's an organic winery. We're going to go in, walk the fields, meet the winemakers, and taste the wines. It's an unusual winery. It's typical of what's taking place in Italy now with biodynamics and organics and the mix of varietals you don't normally think of, like Merlot being mixed with Sangiovese and Sagrantino. Wonderful wines. Let's go meet the owner and the winemaker.
Let's talk about this style, because we do a lot of shows on wine every year. I find myself somewhere in some vineyard talking to somebody, and it's really neat to see this sort of new modern trend for organic, biologic, natural winemaking. And when you're walking through, I mean, here we are. It looks like a mess right now, because it is on purpose. We're letting all of these weeds and thistles and all of this stuff grow. Talk a little bit about this style and explain it.
Quindi queste erbe sono erbe spontanee.
Basically, these are just spontaneous growths of herbs that happen sporadically. This is a big part of being organic. It's letting the land rejuvenate itself. Right now, he'd like to show you a demonstration of a manual pruning on how they give the vines an equilibrium of space and a chance to grow. And
this is really important, because we wouldn't see this if we came 3 months from now. We certainly wouldn't see this as the crush. So let's walk up. He's just taking off all these little buds because we don't want grapes there. The vines want to make grapes there. That's what they naturally do. But to make winemaking, it isn't about volume. It's about limiting volume. And then as these grow into clusters, they'll hook around here and eventually your grapes will hang, but we're limiting production. And in doing that, you always end up with the best wine.
okay.
So now we're down to the cellar where the wines are being kept in this typical Bordeaux style, this barrique. This is called barrel style. It's called a barrique. And Mauro is going to open. We're going to take some wine straight out of the cask.
Allora, si è voluto mettere queste tre varietà perché allora, il Sagrantino gli dà struttura e potenza, il Merlot morbidità e il Sangiovese freschezza.
So the Sagrantino gives it its robust character. The Sangiovese, its freshness, and the Merlot, the morbid. Well, no. In Italian, morbido is soft. The softness, I'm sorry.
Ever since I've been a little kid, when I ate tomato sauce, we always put Pecorino cheese on it, Pecorino Romano cheese. It's the Roman sheep's milk cheese. Up north, they use Parmesan, but my family, and to this day, I love Pecorino, but I've always wondered how it was made and where it was made. Well, this is the last of the factories that's really making Pecorino Romano from the sheep's milk, from sheep around Rome. We're going to visit this factory and see how it's done.
The sheep milk arrives. And what's happening here is the milk's being heated up, then they add rennet, which is naturally occurring in the stomach of cows, and that forms these curds. And at that point, they'll begin to pump it out to turn it into a couple of different cheeses. What we have here is the cheese coming out in curd form. This is a seasoned cheese. It's a basket cheese. It's been heated up. Rennet's been added to set the curd. Now it's being pumped into these baskets where they're going to be formed. This is the kind of cheese that's just a daily consumption cheese. It doesn't have to see any age. And then what you see is they form these baskets. This is a classic basket cheese. So much of the fresh cheese, farmer's cheese in the world, when you see those little rings on cheese when you buy it, that's from these little plastic molds. Hence the term basket cheese. Once they're drained, in those same baskets, they're dropped in here with weights on top. This is a salt solution. I don't know what the salt solution is, maybe 10, 12%. It's a real heavy salt brine, and it's in this salt for 8 hours per kilo, and that salt basically does the cooking. I mean, at the end of the day, what is cheese? Cheese making is the act of stopping or slowing down rot. Cows need to be milked twice a day. Sheep need to be milked every day. So we have this milk. You can drink it as fresh milk. churn it into butter. Then what do? Then you're left with all this stuff. That's why cheese making started eons and eons ago, because you had this protein and you needed to preserve it. So these kind of cheeses will sit in here 8 hours per kilo. Then they'll be taken out. They'll be kind of firmed up from that brine reaction. They'll be labeled, put into distribution, and they'll be on a store shelf tomorrow and gone. Remember the ones with the little red peppers in them? Well, these are the babies. And again, you can see, anytime you see these cheeses with these basket marks on the outside, that's your classic basket cheese.
Simulator. I mean, how cool is this? When you get to play in this kind of a toy? I'm going in first class. Tablecloths, that's a novel concept. All right. Get used to this. Real silverware, a napkin, salt and pepper, butter. So that's how people fly. Thanks so much. Yeah. What's another fight, you know? This is how we roll. You know, got the FMU t-shirt, we got the panciacorta, we got the liver mousse, the lardo. Yeah. Good, she's eating. This is really great wine for airplanes. It's a great wine, period. This is actually handmade pasta. This is fresh pasta. I'm guessing. Or that dry pasta that's really, you know, $5 a pound. Broccoli's beautiful. Guanciale, beautifully green. I'm not really sure how they do this on airplanes. This is a real challenge because it has to be cooked ahead, cooled, and then recooked and comes up. This is really good pasta. I think let's try the sea bass, Livornese. I'll pass on the salad, but let's see about the wines. What do we have that's going to work with the fish?
We have Chianti Classico. It's 2005. It's almost 95% Sangiovese and 5% is Merlot and Cabernet.
I like it with the
Sauvignon.
Livornese. I think we can handle it.
We judge it
Yeah.
first, okay.
Sommeliers are shaking their heads saying, bad choice, Mike. I like it.
That's
Thanks. I don't know how they do this, but this fish is pretty much perfectly cooked. I picked the Chianti to pair it with the tomato sauce. I think if it had, I don't know if the Chardonnay would have worked. I don't think the oak would have worked. Maybe the Greco di Tuffa would have been perfect, but who wants, this isn't a wine list, it's a selection. But I think this is going to be perfect. It's big, it crushes the fish, but it's great with the sauce. Man, the advantages of flying in the front of the plane. You had fish too?
good. Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Oh,
And I'm really picky about my fish. Everybody knows that.
grazie.
My kind of bartender, when in doubt. Business class, first class. I'm guessing this is how the talent on the TV Food Network live. And I could get used to this. It's actually great. So, if you have the wherewithal, and you should, if you have the frequent flyer miles, and you may, this is really worth it. If you're flying Lux, you want to take a holiday and not torture yourself on the airplane like I always do in that back area with the cold turkey wraps or the bring your own stuff. This is sick. This is like the best airline food I've ever had. All right, we saw how Alitalia really upped the ante. The food's really great if you fly first in business class. And the reason is they've got a wonderful chef behind it. One of the chefs behind that is Agata, who has a great restaurant in Rome called Agata and Romeo. It's run by her and her husband. I know her daughter, Maria Antonietta, because she worked on the floor as a sommelier in New York City at Le Cirque. Let's meet Agata, find out how this thing happened, and have her do a little demo for us while we're at it in her great Roman kitchen.
So I was called from the Minister of the Agriculture to introduce the best of the Italian food on the airplane. We are a couple of chefs. I take care of center Italy and all the south, including the two islands, Sicily and Sardinia. And there is another chef who is going to take care of from center to north of Italy. Our idea is, besides region by region, even to follow the season. So even if there is a region, we try to use seasonal food. And this way you can bring all the best of the period on the airplane.
Allora, thanks for letting us in your kitchen. So we talked about this dish with the swordfish. You begin, and we'll get a translation from Maria Antonietta.
Allora, dobbiamo preparare gli ingredienti per realizzare questo piatto.
The most important thing to prepare is the bread crumble because it's the stuffing for the swordfish. So what we do, we cut it, we put the persil, capers, raisin, pine nuts, and we cut very, very thin. And in here we can start to see all the Sicily region, dry tomatoes, capers, basil.
And lots of flavor.
Yes.
Sicilians are not shy.
No, absolutely. Dice i siciliani non si vergognano dei profumi, dei sapori, ne mettono tanti.
Yes, big food.
Tanti e deve essere...
They put a lot of flavors
Yeah.
and has to be, with a hard taste, strong taste.
Yeah, layers and layers and layers of flavor. Perfect.
That's the fresh swordfish.
Yeah.
It's cut very, very thin, like
Like
prosciutto.
yeah,
very,
but as thin
very
as you
thin.
can make it.
Sliced very thin. We put the stuffing in and we roll. So now we take garlic and we break just a little bit, but we leave
Perché
entire.
noi mettiamo sull'Alitalia, sui voli dell'Alitalia, non vogliono
So what we
mangiare-
do on the airplane it's not going to be possible to put a lot of garlic, onion, hot peppers, because you're going to see too strong flavor. So it's just a tiny flavor. Yeah, just the perfume.
Va bene, va bene. Okay, so we have in the pan the tomatoes, the olives, a little bit of fresh cracked garlic, a little bit of the unsweetened orange juice, so just natural orange juice. Turn the fish.
We put some lemon juice as well. So the swordfish rolls are ready.
Yeah, they cook very
Qui
quickly.
abbiamo preparato una capa di melanzane.
So
This
eggplant
is the
caponata.
eggplant caponata. It's made with fresh eggplants,
Cipolla,
onions,
capperi, olive,
capers, black
olive.
olives, raisin.
L'aglio viene tolto.
And the sauce is just
Sì.
The
barely there.
garlic we take away, we
Yeah.
don't put on our dish.
Sempre non ci scordiamo
Sempre.
il
And we-
nostro olio extravergine d'oliva.
And we
In
never
Italia
forget the extra virgin
abbiamo
olive
questa
oil.
fortuna.
You're reading my mind. I'm thinking just a little bit, just a little bit. This is beautiful.
Dice
un
mi hai letto
piatto-
nella mente.
Questo è un piatto tipico siciliano.
This is a traditional Sicilian
E
dish.
questo lo troveremo sull'Alitalia in ottobre prossimo.
And this is what is going to be served in Alitalia airplane next October.
I think I'm coming to Italy next October at some
Ha
point.
detto che penserà di viaggiare in Italia a ottobre.
Now, question for Maria Antonietta. Wine pairing for this.
this?
Wow. Wine pairing for this is going to be Intolia, which is a typical white grape from Sicily, which is really amazing, especially with this dish.
All right, I'm going to skip the wine. Do you mind if I taste?
Yes.
Is it okay?
Dice salto il vino, però
Sì, sì.
ti dispiace se l'assaggio?
No, no.
Take, Michael.
Oh, ok.
First, just the fish with a little caponata.
Sì, la caponata. La caponata è strepitosa, veramente buona.
The caponata is amazing. It's really good.
The
Io la
dish is
provo.
great.
I tasted too.
I mean, imagine sitting on an airplane, and then this comes in those nice big seats where you're not squished together with the 5 other people eating the turkey wrap and the beer that costs $6 and you're getting crumbs all over your shirt. This is beautiful. This is the way to live.